My name is Owen, and for a decade, there was a ring on my finger and a woman named Natalie in my house, wearing my last name and calling what we had a marriage. Ask me a few years back, and the answer would have rolled out easy. We were good, solid, built to last. Turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. While I was busy holding a roof over our heads and trying to be the kind of man a little girl calls dad with pride, Natalie was sketching an exit plan where she walked away with half of everything. She thought she had it all figured out: timing, leverage, how to spin the story so she'd be the one catching sympathy while counting money. What she didn't know? I was already 3 steps ahead. If I'm being fair, the beginning wasn't a lie. When we first got together, she was kind, attentive, a steady presence who made it seem like being with me was something to be proud of. But time has a way of peeling paint. The tone shifted by degrees. It started as teasing and turned into erosion. Comparisons stacked up like traffic tickets I hadn't earned. Why can't you be more ambitious like James? See how Kevin takes his wife on vacations? Frank always fixes things around the house. You should learn from him. There was always someone taller, richer, better in a room I wasn't in. Pretty soon, there was no version of me that was right. If I worked late, I wasn't making enough. If I came home early, I didn't have drive. If I bought her gifts, I was wasting money. If I didn't, I was neglectful. There was no winning position on that board, and I played too many turns trying. The reason I didn't walk sooner had a name and a face. Our daughter. I wasn't going to voluntarily shatter her world if there was any way to keep it standing. So I stayed. I took the hits that came wrapped as jokes. I patched holes I didn't make. I convinced myself that storms blow past. Then, on an ordinary Saturday that started like any other, the truth walked up on small feet. I was scrolling my phone in the living room when my little girl came over with that hopeful smile kids wear when they're about to try and sell you on something with sweetness. "Daddy, can we get ice cream?" I chuckled. "Sweetheart, you know we can't do ice cream all the time. Too much sugar." I've said that 100 times. Usually there's a pout or a negotiation about scoops and homework. This time, she shrugged like she already had a workaround. "But Uncle Ben always gets me ice cream." It felt like a floorboard gave under my foot. I kept my voice light. "Oh, yeah? Who's Uncle Ben?" No hesitation. "Mommy's friend. He comes when you're at work or on trips. He buys me ice cream and cookies." Kids that age do not invent details like that with the kind of casual clarity she used. In her head, there was nothing wrong here. I smiled like my stomach wasn't turning. "That's nice of him." She ran off to play. I sat there and heard the sentence that hadn't been said. I didn't ask Natalie about it. Not yet. I did something better. I started paying attention with both eyes open. That's when the pattern drew itself. She went out more errands that ate half a day, gym sessions that took enough time to train for a marathon, last-minute plans with friends I'd never once heard a name for. If I asked the kind of questions people in a marriage ask, "Where'd you go? How'd that take so long?" she acted like I'd stepped out of bounds. Her phone turned into a second spine, always on silent, always face down on any surface, always traveling with her like a passport, even to the bathroom. If it rang in the same room, she'd get up and walk away before answering. On the rare occasions I glanced over, I caught the blur of her swiping notifications off the lock screen like flies. We had never been a secret-keeping couple. Suddenly, there was a locked door between us with a glowing screen behind it. Her mood joined the act. Irritation turned reflexive, fights sparked over nothing, and I noticed a clock in them. Arguments bloomed before she needed air, before she had to step out. Pick a fight. Make me the villain. Walk out with a clean conscience. I kept trying to fix it like you fix a rattling vent. Ask what's wrong, offer help, check the screws. Every time she shut it down. Once I saw the pattern, I stopped asking. One night, I was at the desk in our bedroom trying to capture a few notes. Pen died. I looked around for a spare. Her handbag was open on the dresser. I reached in without thinking. My fingers hit plastic. Prescription bottle. At first, it didn't register as anything but medicine. The name of the drug didn't ring a bell. I typed it into my phone. The screen didn't blink before it delivered the truth. Medication used to treat sexually transmitted infections. We hadn't been intimate in months. If she was taking that, it could only mean one thing. Water cut off in the bathroom. I slid the bottle exactly where I found it and shut the thought behind my teeth. Confrontation would hand her time to spin. Strategy would hand me leverage. Texas is a fault-based divorce state. If I could prove adultery, not only would alimony disappear, but there was a chance for damages. That fact changed everything. Instead of reacting, I set a trap. First step, a lawyer who knows this terrain and how to bring back evidence that stands up straight in court. He gave me a list. What matters, what to gather, what not to do. Then I hired a private investigator. It took a little over a month. When he came back, it was with more than shadows. She wasn't just cheating, she was fearless about it. Photos, timestamps, meetings. The same guy, public places, patterns. And the worst of it, she brought him into our home. While I was at work, while my daughter's toys sat in the next room. The PI had the car parked in front of our house on multiple days, time stamped, frame by frame. Whatever pity was left in me died right there. Then came the piece that mattered most, our daughter. I'd worried she was being neglected. Now I watched proof stack. She left for hours, missed bedtime to be with him, checked out of parenting to clock time in infidelity. My lawyer was clear. If I could show this in court, full custody wasn't a reach. It was likely. She had no idea any of this was moving. She thought I was the fool. I was building a case brick by brick and waiting for the perfect moment to set it. Finance was next. Natalie wouldn't hesitate to wring me dry. So I moved first. I transferred major assets into accounts opened in our daughter's name and structured as college savings and inheritance vehicles. On paper, the money belonged to our child, not to me. Those accounts were legally bound for her future. Natalie couldn't touch a dime. I didn't do this with a couple clicks and a prayer. I did it with counsel. I made sure the structure was airtight, irreversible, bulletproof to the kind of divide it fairly nonsense people say when they mean, I want half of what you earned. This wasn't petty. It was protection. Left in joint accounts, the money would be her argument by breakfast the day after a filing. Now, the funds weren't mine anymore. And if I retained legal custody as our daughter's parent, I controlled those accounts for their intended purpose, her future. After yet another argument that bloomed out of nowhere, she finally gave me the line I'd been waiting for. I want a divorce, arms crossed, chin high. She was braced for a scene where I begged or panicked or tried to yank the wheel back. I didn't. I wanted out as badly as she did, maybe more. I smiled. Okay. It landed like I'd turned off the gravity in the room. She blinked. In her head, she held the map. Walk away with half, plus alimony, plus leverage. She had no idea I'd been building a new map for months. The next morning, before she could even float the word fair, my lawyer served her. She was still in her robe at the breakfast table when she opened the envelope. I watched her face do the math. The papers laid it all out. Not only was she not getting alimony, there was a path to her paying me. For the first time in forever, she had no line ready. She just stared, finally seeing me without the filter she'd used for years. In the proceedings, she carried that early arrogance like a coat she couldn't admit didn't fit anymore. Maybe she believed she could charm a judge. Maybe she trusted her own denial. The private investigator's work didn't blink. Photos with timestamps, different locations. Same man, same rhythm. And then the closing punch, the prescription bottle. I had photographed it that night. When my lawyer introduced it, I watched her color drain out. The court didn't need a diagram. There it was, documented proof of treatment for an infection she didn't get from me. The judge didn't mask disapproval. In Texas, fault matters. Adultery changes outcomes. Equity isn't split blind, and entitlement evaporates. She broke the vows. She lost her claim to support. The payday she expected turned into zero. And because her actions detonated the marriage, damages were on the table. The worst blow was custody. We laid out what mattered. The night she left our daughter alone to go meet him. The pattern of absence. The reckless prioritization of an affair over a child. The judge didn't hesitate. He saw her clearly. An unfit parent by behavior, not by label. Full custody to me. No shared plan. No weekends that felt like consolation prizes. No, we'll figure it out later. She was reduced to visiting her own child by appointment. As for the rest assets, I'd already moved for our daughter's future. The house and other major items structured outside her reached the ruling, settled into a shape that left her with what she brought in. Not much. Walking out of that courtroom, she wasn't the same woman who'd asked for a divorce like it was a power move. There was a time when I might have tried to tape this together for our daughter's sake. That time is gone. Some mistakes don't erase. Some people feel regret only when the bill arrives. That's exactly what happened to Natalie. At first, she pretended not to care. Tough face, cold tone. Then she realized there was no money coming, no custody, no soft landing. Suddenly, her messages got longer. Calls multiplied. We had so many good years. I made a mistake. Our daughter needs both of us. Where was that concern when she was sneaking a man into our house? Where was that regret when she was telling me I wasn't enough every chance she got? I stayed steady. She tried every lever: guilt, staged remorse, blaming me for not fighting for us. You can't fight for a house someone else set on fire. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught, and sorrier that I didn't let her walk away with a life I built. Now I'm free in all the ways that matter: legal, mental, emotional, financial. I can put my attention where it belongs, on my daughter, on a home where no one has to walk on eggshells, on a life that tells the truth out loud. What this taught me came down to 3 things. First, don't ignore the signs. If the room smells like smoke, look for flames. Second, protect yourself emotionally and financially. If I hadn't acted when I did, I'd be the one telling this story from a motel with an empty bank account. Third, some people only respect you when they learn you're not available for exploitation. She thought she was playing me. Turns out she was playing herself. So tell me, did I handle this right? What would you have done in my shoes? Drop it in the comments. And remember, sometimes the smartest move is to stop explaining and start acting.